Hello, good morning. Welcome to today's edition of 10 with Ben. 10 minutes with your guy, Ben K here. We're going to start, of course, as we always do, with the Immaculate Grid, the baseball reference Immaculate Grid. By now, you should have an idea of what the Immaculate Grid is. It's a daily game to test your overall knowledge of baseball history. You have 9 squares here on this grid. You get 9 guesses. Can only use a player one time, even if they fit multiple categories. The level of expertise is determined in your rarity score. A single-digit rarity score means the players that you are guessing for these squares on the grid are very rare, so your knowledge is elite. A triple-digit rarity score means that you're picking pretty common answers, and somewhere in the middle is somewhere in the middle. Now, if you get one wrong, you don't get a do-over. 9 chances to get 9 players. Today's grid is here. We have a player that played for the Blue Jays and the Brewers, the Blue Jays and the Mets, the Blue Jays and the Orioles. A player that played outfield for a minimum of 1 game for the Brewers, for the Mets, for the Orioles, and a 30 stolen base season for the Brewers, the Mets, and the Orioles. This feels like it might be in my wheelhouse. Get you guys a best look that I can here. Always want to try to do this in under 3 minutes or so, but also get the lowest rarity score that I can. So let's get started. We will start here in the upper corner. Grid 1, Blue Jays and Brewers. I am going to go with one of my favorites from my childhood, Candy Maldonado. That is correct. A player who played for the Blue Jays and the Mets. Now, there's a lot of obvious ones that come to mind. David Cone, Carlos Delgado. Want to go a little more rare here. I'm going to go with pitcher Steve Traskell. Player who played for the Blue Jays and the Orioles. I'm going to come back to that one. Played outfield a minimum of 1 game for the Brewers. Obviously there's plenty of outfielders that have played for the Brewers. I'm going to go with Niger Morgan. All right, 3% of the people have guessed that. Played outfield for the Mets a minimum of 1 game. I'm going to go with Jeff Francoeur. 1% of the people guessed that. Played outfield a minimum of 1 game for the Orioles. This one is going to be for my brother Joe. I am going to go with Mike Devereaux, his least favorite player when we were growing up. 1% of the people guessed that. So, 30 stolen base season for the Brewers. Chris Gomez, maybe. Yelich, did he do it? Braun. I'm going to go with 1991 Rookie of the Year, Pat Listash. 6% of the people were thinking what I was thinking. For the Mets, 30 stolen bases in a season. Howard Johnson. Should go Howard. Vince Coleman, actually, I believe. Vince Coleman. Yes, 6% of the people were thinking the same thing. Now, a 30 stolen base guy for the Orioles, not probably known for prolific base stealers. Also for my brother, I think the obvious guess here would be Brady Anderson, but I'm going to try to go with a little more rarity here. Let's go Corey Patterson. Yes, 1%. Okay, player who played for the Blue Jays and the Orioles, I'm going to go with Dwight Smith Jr. All right, so we went immaculate. We got all 9. We went 9 for 9. Our rarity score 19. So not single digits, but, pretty low double digits. And that is because, 3% of the people guessed Niger Morgan, 6% on Listash and Coleman. The only truly rare guesses we had were on the people who played for both teams, Candy Maldonado, Steve Traskell, and Dwight Smith Jr. So that wraps up our Immaculate Grid part of today. I don't know how to do this with me in this box up here and whatever, so I'm just gonna leave that there in the background, that battered Miami Hurricanes helmet on my cup there, because today, for the rest of today's 10 with Ben, I want to talk about the Miami Hurricanes, right? So we're coming off of a weekend where the biggest off-season weekend for the NFL, the draft. For most of my formidable years, my teenage years into the 20s, the Miami Hurricanes dominated the first round of the draft. They always had wide receivers, tight ends, linebackers, defensive backs, running backs, defensive ends. This year, I didn't look at the total tally. I believe that they had 4 players drafted. The earliest one in the 4th round, defensive back Cam Kitchens. So, but listen, not really here to talk about the draft, right? What's happening this year is a lot of my friends, a lot of my Hurricanes diehard fan brethren are talking about expectations for this upcoming season, right? A couple of solid recruiting classes by head coach Mario Cristobal, his guys coming in. Some great success in the transfer portal. Arguably, the Hurricanes come into this season with maybe the best quarterback in college football, in Cam Ward, who lit it up for Washington State last year. Might have been in the conversation with was it 5 quarterbacks that went in the first round of the draft this past weekend. He may have been number 6 had he chosen to stay, but he went into the portal. The Hurricanes have him. They have a legit star quarterback with expectations, with Heisman expectations, with first-round draft pick expectations. And with that comes, I don't want to say national championship expectations for the Canes, but hey, we're going on 20 years in the ACC. We have played for the ACC title one time. We have not won an ACC title. Clemson has come back to the pack a little bit. Florida State has come back to the pack a little bit. North Carolina, who's always been a thorn in our side, just had their quarterback go number 3 overall in the draft. So a little bit of recent history. Top of the conference is coming down to the pack. And the Canes, again, with a top 5 or 6 recruiting class, top 10 class for the 2nd or 3rd year in a row. Did some amazing things in the transfer portal, not just at quarterback, at running back, wide receiver. Although they did lose a wide receiver, which really shocked me. The young man, his name slips me. Is it Kobe something? Kobe Jones, maybe? I should probably know this before I start talking to you about it. But look. My fellow Canes fans and brethren are excited about this upcoming season. For me, I'm tired of winning the offseason. I'm tired of hearing about how great the recruiting class is. I'm tired of hearing about what we've done in the transfer portal. It's time to see it on the field. I'm always going to be a diehard Canes fan. Whether we win 4 games or we win double-digit games, I'm always going to proudly throw up the U. But it's time. Look, we went all in to get Mario Cristobal, right? Not the biggest name coach out there, but boy, we sure treated him like it. We brought him in here to be not just a head coach, but a CEO, the face of this program, and to bring us back into national prominence, because it's been a long time. This is year 3 now. You get a pass in year 1. I guess you get a pass in year 2, and I understand he signed a big deal, a 7-year deal, big money, big buyout, but if this season they're not at least playing for the ACC title, Might be time to make some changes again down at Coral Gables. Hey, thanks for tuning in on this April 30th, 2024 edition of 10 with Ben. We'll be back tomorrow with a fresh Immaculate Grid, and who knows, maybe we'll talk about the Red Sox. Maybe we'll talk about the upcoming WWE pay-per-view Backlash. Maybe we'll talk about the Miami Heat, right? Look, a lot of stuff to cover. We'll get to that tomorrow. Have a great final day of April, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to 10 with Ben. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.